The Pathfinder Summoner's Guide would not be complete without talking about their key feature, the Eidolon. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire, here to keep everything rolling for the first edition Pathfinder Summoner's Guide, this time talking about their Eidolons. These are going to be those boon companions that you just are able to have at your beck and call throughout the entirety of your career as an adventurer. These creatures only get more powerful and better and more capable as you advance and go along, and put points into developing their evolutions, their stats, their feats, their skills. All of these things and more are readily available to you. But before we get into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself on such an incredible roster of legendary heroes, then go on down there to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. But now we'll actually get into the heart of the issue today and actually start talking about your Eidolons and how they function. So, Eidolons advance in hit dice and other stats as you level up, gaining a d10 for hit points when their hit dice advance. They start with dark vision, link to freely communicate mentally, share spells to let your Eidolon benefit from spells that normally only target you. They gain evasion at 2nd level, ability score increases at 5th, 10th, and 15th level. They gain the devotion ability at level 6 for a +4 morale bonus on will saves versus enchantment spells and effects. Then they'll pick up multi-attack at 9th level and improved evasion at level 14. All the way around, these are great abilities and really handy to have, and will do a lot, not only to keep your Eidolon alive, but you as well, and help to really boost the both of you overall. Now, when it comes to actually advancing them, there's actually a really handy chart that you can reference at the Pathfinder system reference document, looking up their Eidolons. It should be the first link if you Google it, and we'll have it on screen here for you now. So you can see that at each level you advance as a summoner, you have their stat block right there. So at first level, they have 1 hit dice, 1 base attack bonus. Their good saves get a +2, their poor saves get a +0. They have 4 skill points, 1 feat to spend, no bonus armor, no bonus to their strength or dexterity score. Their evolution pool starts at a flat +3. They have a maximum of 3 attacks, and then of course those special abilities that I went over earlier. But then, say you make it up to level 6. Once you hit level 6, if you just look at the chart here, you'll see that your Eidolon's hit dice have gone up to 5 hit dice, so that's 5d10 plus whatever their constitution modifier might be. They get a +5 base attack bonus, +4 to their good saves, +1 to the poor saves. Skill points, they have 20. They'll have 3 feats. They get a +4 armor bonus, which is great. A +2 bonus to their strength and dexterity scores, which will do a lot for them. 9 evolution pool points, 4 for their max attacks, and they'll have devotion, an ability score increase, and evasion added to their overall special abilities. So, anytime you advance in level, you will advance your Eidolon along this chart at the appropriate level. Now, when it comes to actually putting your Eidolon together, though, deciding what they look like, you have to pick out their base forms. Now, there are more forms available than what I'll go over here today, but this should give you a pretty good idea overall of what's going to be useful, what your options kind of look like, and also, you know, maybe some ones to kind of avoid just a little bit. Speaking of, we have Aquatic for our first option. It's a medium-sized Eidolon, has a 20-foot movement speed, 40-foot swim speed, an armor class bonus of a +4 for their natural armor. For their saves, they have a good fortitude save and reflex save. However, their will save will be bad. They have, for their attack, they start off with a bite dealing 1d6 points of damage. For ability scores, they actually have a fairly incredible 16 in their strength, 12 for dexterity, 13 constitution, then intelligence comes in at 7, wisdom at 10, charisma at 11. For most of your builds, you're not really going to be worrying about the mental stats overall, except for maybe charisma, but even then you can kind of get away with not messing with that too much. Now, if you pick this form, they start off with a number of free evolutions that you don't have to spend any of your evolution points on. They get the Bite evolution, as well as improved natural armor, gills. Swim has been taken twice for that 40-foot swim speed, and they can select the Mount evolution. That is available to them when normally it's restricted to the quadruped. So, aquatic, you can kind of see why this wouldn't be incredibly great. In most campaigns, it's not going to come up very often that a swim speed is going to be all that useful all the time, and this kind of really ends up restricting you in a lot of ways. However, if you are in a campaign that features large bodies of water frequently, either taking place on, near, or under them, then of course this is going to be much more useful as an Eidolon form to start with, so just keep all of that in mind. Then going on from there, we have the biped form. It's a medium size, starts off with a 30-foot base speed. It has a natural armor bonus of +2. For its saves, it has good fortitude saves, bad reflex, but good will saves. For attacks, it has 2 claw attacks dealing 1d4 damage each. Now, also keep in mind that this does not count in your strength modifier for the Eidolon, though that will add in when you're doing damage. This is just flatly what it is without any additional modifiers. For its ability scores, it starts off with a strength of 16, dex of 12, and con of 13, same mental stat array as before. And for free evolutions that it starts off with, it has claws, has limbs for arms, and then legs as limbs as well. Limbs do count as an evolution. Then we have the quadruped form, another medium-sized base form, has a 40-foot movement speed, an armor class bonus from its natural armor +2. For its saves, has good fortitude, good reflex, bad will saves. For its attack, it has a bite dealing 1d6 points of damage. Now, its ability scores are changed up a little bit from the previous forms, coming in at a strength of 14, dex of 14, con of 13, and then the same mental array of stats there before. So it's relatively balanced in comparison to the other forms that you might see. Now, for its free evolutions that it starts with, it has bite, limbs, legs twice over because, well, it's a quadrupedal form. It's a quadrupedal creature. So overall makes sense. Now, again, you have other forms such as Tauric, so Minotaur, Centaur. Those forms can fall under Tauric and would work for an Eidolon. There's also Avian, Serpentine. All of those have different features to them and are definitely worth looking into. Avian forms are going to be good for maneuverability, for scouting. Tauric forms are going to present some interesting options for you. The Serpentine form is going to naturally end up being fairly great at grappling overall, so really think about what you want to build your Eidolon into, what role you want them to have, and then go from there. But then we need to figure out how we're spending these evolution points. Well, the different evolutions have different points cost to them, so we're going to go over just a small handful of them here, but just remember that there are so many more. Not all of them great, some of them good, others much better, and we're going to go largely over the better ones. Starting off with, we have claws, which are a 1-point evolution. These deal 1d4 damage if you have a medium Eidolon, 1d6 for a large, 1d8 for a huge Eidolon. Now, in order to have this evolution, they have to have limbs. This can be selected more than once, but the Eidolon must have enough limbs. So if you have, 4 arms and 2 legs, you can select the claws evolution up to twice, and 4 of those limbs will have claws on them. Now, going on from there, we have the Pounce evolution, another 1-point evolution, which is just amazing. This allows your Eidolon to make a full attack after a charge. Now, this is only available to quadruped Eidolons. Any other exceptions only crop up with your DM's permission, but this does a lot to help them boost their damage output, and as well as tactical maneuverability and positioning and the like. Then we have the Skilled evolution, which can really vary in how useful it is. Costs 1 point and you gain a +8 racial bonus to the selected skill for your Eidolon. In this case, you'd want to throw it into Perception, because Perception is a class skill for your Eidolon, and it's the most rolled skill in the game. Given that it's not a class skill for you, that's going to make it incredibly handy to have, just having that extra set of eyes available. Now, depending on what other skills you put it into, say Stealth can be an incredible option for your Eidolon to have with this. Maybe not as good as Perception, but still really handy. Others, though, can, it'd be more for flavor, for feel, for whatever kind of theming you have, but, aside from story, the various options that you have are going to vary in their quality. Of course, going on from there, the next evolution we have is Ability Increase, and this counts for 2 points. Increase one of the Eidolon stats by +2. Can be taken more than once, however, this can only be put on individual ability scores once for every 6 levels a summoner has. So, if you want to be able to put this multiple times, say, into Strength, then you're going to have 6 levels as a summoner for each time you want to do that. And that can get expensive fairly quick, but will absolutely pay out dividends for you. Then the next option is Flight, which costs 2 points minimum, but has other options that increase its cost. Your Eidolon will gain a fly speed equal to its base speed. Medium and smaller Eidolons will have good maneuverability, large will have average, while huge will have poor. For 2 more points, the Eidolon will then fly through magical means, losing wings, but in exchange for perfect maneuverability and making this a supernatural ability. You can increase their fly speed by 20 for each extra point spent. You have to be 5th level to be able to select this, but this is a huge maneuverability option for you, especially since you may not be doing all of the flying yourself necessarily, unless you're really investing into having your Eidolon be a mounted creature for you. But even still, this is just going to be incredibly handy, although be aware that for increasing its speed, you're probably not going to need all that much, so be wary of putting too many of your evolution points into Flight early on. Later on, you'll have a little bit more to play with, so just go with whatever you're planning and think it out a little bit, feel it out. Next option that we have is Immunity, another 2-point evolution. Pick one energy type: acid, cold, electricity, fire, or sonic. The Eidolon becomes immune to that type, can be taken more than once, but only once for each energy type, and you have to be 7th level in order to select this. Then, going on from there, we have the Limbs evolution, another 2-point evolution. Eidolon gains limbs, either arms or legs, each pair of legs increasing land speed by 10 feet. Arms have hands that allow the Eidolon to wield weapons if proficient. Otherwise, other evolutions can give them attacks, such as claws or slam attacks, etc. And, well, there are so many more evolutions that you can pick up, such as fast healing, spell resistance, and on and on and on. Fast healing and spell resistance in particular being especially effective. Spell resistance allows you to not worry near so much about all the saves that your Eidolon might have to deal with, as well as fast healing helping just to keep them in the fight and helping them recover their hit points, as they don't normally recover them by normal means, so you'll have to come up with other ways of fixing them up, patching them up as you go along. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? Did you find it helpful overall in kind of breaking down generally how Eidolons work? Certainly with the different feat options that you have available, most often, you know, especially if you're going for a combat role, feats like power attack and cleave, things like that can be incredibly useful. And then but if you're going with grappling, then you know you have improved grapple, and so many other things available to you. So definitely play around with things a little bit and kind of think of your Eidolon as almost being like another character, much in the same way that animal companions can be for druids and rangers and the like. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit those like or dislike buttons, and remember, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.